Hey guys, Jordan here. In this video I'm going to do a Twilight luxury editing session, so let's get into it. Alright, so for this particular home, we've already edited the daytime shots. Now we did do some nighttime shots as well. So what I've done so far was take the 60 megapixel ARW files, put them through DNG converter, shrunk them down to 20 megapixels because that's about as big as our customers need unless they request some ultra high resolution need that they have. Imported it into Lightroom and I had it build 1x1 full size previews. So that's where we're at. So we have 65 images. I believe we already did about 50 for the daytime. So we basically just went back in this home and shot the main areas that were staged. We didn't even mess with the upstairs. It wasn't very good. If you saw the other video, you know that. So since we only have 65 images, I think I'm gonna be deleting less. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna add them all to quick collection this time. So Command A and hit B. So they're all in quick collection. And all right, so let me just go through here and we'll just kind of pick which ones. I like the windows better in this one. Whoops. Command Z, put it back where it was. I had them all selected still. So it's actually easier if we zoom in. So I'm just gonna go through and hit B on the ones. Yeah, this one has a hot spot, so I prefer this one. That one looks good as is. That one looks good. That one looks good. All right, now this one, this was a flash one. You can see where the hot spot's coming from. Then I moved it over here. Another one, then I moved it over here so we don't have it over here. So it looks like, let me see. All right, so we have this one. We'll need this. This is one without the reflection in the window because all these other ones have the reflection. So I know I'm gonna need that exposure. Now I'm just looking for the one that I think looks the best. Lighting wise on the interior. So I'd probably say this one. So I'm gonna select, whoops. I forgot I'm doing it backwards, sorry. We're removing the ones that we're not using. So let me remove this one, remove this one. Remove this one, so I'm keeping this one and this one. All right, here's another composition here. I think I did some bracketed shots for some reason. All right, so we have a flash shot here. This one seems, actually they seem about the same. If you look how the lighting's going, it's hard to tell what it is here. So yeah, I took a lot of shots of this one. All right, so we have flashed. And let's see, so this one actually is pretty good ambient. I'm just looking at some of the features. So we have light switches. Yeah, so I was making sure that my composition didn't move. So we have these two and these two. I'm gonna go ahead and keep these two right here. Now we have these two right here. Honestly, this one's no better lighting than, actually there is a hot spot right here you can see from my flash. So I'll probably need both of these. One to get rid of this, the other one to get rid of this, so we'll keep both of those. Now this one, I believe just single exposure, a little bit darker, we'll keep that one. These two are fine. Very similar to earlier. This one, it was just a little bit dark, so I did do a flash on this side because there were can lights on this side and not on this side. So I'll keep, let's say we'll keep this one and this one, I think for interior, and then we'll just take the glass reflection from this one. Now these two, not a huge fan of that one. I don't know what happened to that. I think the flash just, I forgot to turn it off. All right, so this one looks good. And this one as well. I'll keep both of those. I might need a layer. I think I did this one for the lighting over here and then this one for the lighting in the kitchen. So we'll probably blend both of those. Now for this one is not very important of a shot. Now I got a little bit of light coming in over here. It's kind of dark, but I think I put the exposure wheel down on this one just so that the light fixture wasn't blown out. Let's see which one we keep. I don't know. It's not that important. I'm just gonna keep this darker one. I think that'll be fine. Ooh, I really like this shot right here. If I have two of them and they're very similar, I'm just gonna select the second one. This one ambient, this one flashed, or maybe, I don't, yeah, it does look flashed because you can see the reflection off of the ceiling here. But honestly, I think I can get away with just this one. I like the lighting here. We can, yeah, I think I do. We'll see. This one's too flash. Maybe these two, we'll see. We'll take a look at this one, and then if we need to, we can blend with another one. That one I didn't turn the flash off. I'll just take this last one. Then we have this straight on shot, which looks fine to me. And then we took a shot from upstairs. I'll keep the second one. Then we were outside. I think the flash didn't work on the first one, so I get rid of that one. Let's see. Yeah, that will work, just a more subtle flash. This one's a little more subtle. The sprinklers came on this one. These ones are, I moved the composition. I guess I'm gonna keep the second one. The problem with that one is that I had it kind of off-centered. This one back here, I didn't use any flash out back. They had a lot of spotlights back there, which these look way better than the daytime shots if you saw those ones. Now let's see which one we keep. I like this one without this really bright solar light on. These two are similar. I like the one that's lit a little better. All right, so we've gone through. I think these ones should be all right. Gone through and basically eliminated the ones that we're not gonna be doing. I guess ultimately I only had 31 shots. So it would have been better just to import and just add the ones that we were gonna use, but it was pretty close. All right, so let's start here. Let's go to develop on the first one. Does this one we have two? No, this is a single shot. So let's go to profile straight auto. Little bit on the yellow, sorry, too warm. So let's try to set white balance based on something in the room. Seems like vibrance. Let me just try to bring down this. Let's bring up shadows and maybe boost the exposure a little bit. And honestly, I like it. I think it looks pretty good. Now we can adjust the blues out there if you wanted it darker. You can just click on it from luminance, bring it down. Maybe we do want it a little bit darker. That looks good. All right, let's copy that. Go to the next angle. Paste all the same settings first. Does this one have multiple? No. One. The only problem right here is we got our reflection right here. For stuff like this, I usually just do, you can spend a lot of time removing that, but I'm not gonna focus on that too much. Let me just first focus on this composition and the lighting. Looks pretty good. I'm gonna go to saturation. I'm gonna reduce a little bit of this orangish look. I think it just takes away a little bit. And I was thinking about adding a little bit of an exposure brush right here because it's kind of darker on this side. just a little bit right here. Just brighten it up. All right, that's good. Now we can just try to use the quick and dirty. Now that looks, now if you look at that, that is distracting, so that's not gonna work. So sometimes I'll try multiple. Yeah, it's just picking bad spots. For some reason on the recent Lightroom update, like you try to copy it and it doesn't show where the original. Usually you can move it. Maybe I have a setting wrong or something. Yeah, it looks pretty bad. Let's go back. All right, we're gonna redo that. All right, so it's pretty good minus that. Let's go ahead and edit it in Photoshop. We can do touch retouch tool as well. I think I've used that tool more than Photoshop, so let's do this one in Photoshop. I'm just gonna use probably the clone stamp. You can try the healing brush. That's kind of, so you hit Control Option, you can change the size, and if you want it, up down is hardness, right left is size. So sometimes, whoops, no. All right, let's just do this clone stamp. If I hit Option, this is way too big, but you can hit Option and kind of get a better preview. This is a kind of a bad spot because you don't really want sky in there. So let me hit, hold down Option. Let's just do this. So we can kind of duplicate the fence. Oh, nope, we can see Ray in there. So you can do that fence line. Oh, my flow is at 21%. That's the reason why it's not really covering. It was just like barely masking. So I'm just trying not to make it look like I just did a clone stamp on it. I think that looks starting to look all right. Let me just clone this down here and kind of go over. We can hold down, let's go smaller, and then hit Option, and we'll get rid of this a little bit. Hit Option right here. Move that. All right, let's hold down Option. Let's just get rid of this other leg. All right, that looks pretty good. Flowers look kind of like a reflection. If you wanted to get rid of this part up here, let's go back bigger. Let's hold down Option. Let's just hit this guy right here. You can kind of move and just, let's start right here. That looks better. All right, that's good enough. Doesn't look like I always look away and then I look at the picture, and if my eye draws to that spot, then I'll redo it. But it looked pretty good in my opinion. All right, so let's go. That's before, after. All right, let's move on. So let's copy this one. Let's go over, paste. All right, this one looks pretty good. And like I try to maximize that time right after sunset on the interiors so that you get that nice glow through the windows, and it just looks good. But it really does depend on the lighting of the house. Here it's kind of too bright, so I'm gonna bring that down. All right, I think that looks pretty good. All right, let's copy this, go over, paste to the next. So we're getting a consistent look over here. Now this little camera sticking out here, we can just shrink this down. That should be something that Lightroom can handle. All right, now for like, oh, it's too orange over here, not orange enough, you can click on the saturation and click on the wall and then just bring it down. It just desaturates the color a little bit. I think that looks a little more professional. All right, let's paste here. Now, this is one that we're going to be layering. So, all right, so given the scenario that we're making all these adjustments, we'll see how well the auto align works in Photoshop. So I'm just going to, so this is going to be the main interior shots. Let's set white balance. Not so good. What does it look? It looks a little bit too yellow, maybe. Is it too green? Yeah, probably a little bit too green. Let's bring up exposure just slightly. All right, I think the interior is starting to look good. This other one, let me see. Let me just copy. Now, if you wanted it to straighten exactly the same, this I'll show you. You can copy, and instead of upright mode, you can change it to upright transform. So essentially it should be the exact same. Watch. Now it should be, yep, you can see now they'll layer up, no problem. All right, these look like they're ready, so let's go ahead and select both of these layers. Edit in Photoshop. Oh, dang it. I chose the wrong option. Let me go ahead and X out of here. We want to edit as layers. Right click, edit, open as layers in Photoshop. Now, the bottom one is going to be our main shot, which this one will be on top. It's not our main shot. So it looks like they're loading. We'll put our main one on the bottom. This top one, we're gonna do layer mask and hit Command I, invert it. And now we're just gonna get our paintbrush white. So let's go back to the brush. Flow is at 6%. Let's move that up to maybe 15. And now we can just paint and get those parts out of the image that we wanted out. Now, one thing that you're seeing right here is that this bar is kind of dimming. So we can kind of do this whole side a little bit. Or you can bring down your brush and kind of do on one side and then the other side if you wanted to. That's just another way to do it. I think the ceiling might be a little bit hot too. Let's see if we can dampen that lighting a little bit. See if that looks a little more natural. All right, to me that looks good. Let's go ahead and exit, hit save. Now I like to do one task at a time. I know in that picture we're going to do a screen replacement as well, but it just is easier for me to do it kind of as a process instead of trying to fix everything at once. All right, so that's the dark one. This is the fixed one. All right, let's move on. Make this brighter. All right, what are we trying to get out of this picture? So this one, these both have similar lighting scenarios. I don't think I used a flash on this. Let's go here. I'm just gonna go with this one and we'll try to make it look nice. All right, biggest issue I have with this picture is the white balance doesn't look right. There we go. That's looking a lot better. Let's go ahead and hit auto settings just to see what it does and make our adjustments accordingly. It's probably a little too cool, so let's bring that up probably to around 3. That looks pretty good right there. Pretty happy with that. Let's try to bring down highlights a little bit. Maybe boost shadows. Maybe we make it a little bit. Yeah, that looks pretty good. All right, I'm pretty happy with that. So we have this one that's up close, kind of flash. Now we have this, so it's kind of looks a little weird to me right here, right? So we got this dark spot and this bright. It doesn't really match that too well. It's not bad. I think it's the dark that's throwing me off. So I'm gonna take an exposure brush and we're gonna make it a little bit brighter in this spot here. That looks better, I think. And we can make it even a little bit brighter. That's all right. That'll work. All right, so we got that one, that one. Now this one is 2, right? So we have 2 flash exposures. We can kind of eliminate different things from each. So we'll do, we'll just do auto settings on both of them and then adjust. They're actually basically the same. I don't think I changed my flash settings at all, so they should be very similar. Once I get one dialed in, I should be able just to copy and paste the settings. A little bit too cool. Yeah, it seems like it's picking at around 2800. Should we bring up shadows? I like how like an effect that dehaze just a little bit of that makes it just pop a little bit better. All right, so from here, I'm gonna copy with the transforms to the next one so that I know that they're already gonna line up. We don't have to do auto align. All right, so yeah, this is gonna be the bottom one. The other one's gonna be the top. So let's edit, open as layers in Photoshop. And that one should be the top one. So this is the better one. The one with the hot spot right here. Yeah, that's the top one. All right, let's layer mask, Command I, invert it. Now we'll just paint where we want to eliminate. So we have that flash over here. And no, I think that was pretty much it. Let me see. You can get rid of like some shadows if you have them. All right, that's good. I know I have a camera right there, but I like to do one thing at a time. Sometimes with all the layers, it can kind of throw me off on my edits. So let's just bring it back over here. So that's me in there. That's the bright one. All right, so let's do the clone. I think this one hopefully will give a decent result in Lightroom, because it's kind of it really did pick a bad, it picked a bad spot to clone. That's the problem with Lightroom. All right, that's all right. Let's do it in Photoshop. All right, so we'll just go to the stamp tool. Let's make it a little smaller. Holding Control Option. Let's do Option here, set the I'm not necessarily looking for perfection. I'm just looking to not have it be distracting. I'm gonna go smaller and just take out this tripod leg. I'm gonna select this spot right next to it and see how it does. All right, that's all right. There's a lot of lines in there, so that's an acceptable edit for me. My eye doesn't get drawn there when I look at it, so that'll work for me. All right, let's go next. Now this is a single. Let's go Profile Straight Auto. Little on the dark side for me, and we'll bring down highlights just to bring a little bit more detail in the what It's a little bit too, yeah, too warm. I mean, the house is consistent. It's always pulling 2850, but I think around 3000 is probably more how the house looked. So I'm gonna copy this. I'm gonna do, uncheck that. All right, upright mode. Copy. Let's go next, paste. Let's see, maybe just a little bit brighter here. Looks good to me. Let's keep going. That looks good. All right, this one is where we got a layered thing. Let's see if we moved. Man, we're in that spot in both of these. That's another thing to keep an eye at when you're out shooting. Make sure you move it, especially so you can easily remove yourself. So that's a good interior. But so I'm just focusing on this. I think that looks great. That one is good for getting myself out of the shot, but obviously I had a videographer with me. So yeah, so I guess the last thing, let's copy the transform. Actually, no, this time we won't. I'll open them both up in open as layers in Photoshop, and then we'll align them in Photoshop so that you know how to do it both ways. All right, so we're waiting for it to load, so hit Shift, then go to Edit, and Auto Align Layers. Just do Auto, usually gets a pretty good result for me. All right, so it aligned them. You can kind of click it off. Whoops, sorry, the top layer. Yeah, it looks good. All right, so what we're gonna do now, so this is the layer. The one on the bottom is the one that we want on the bottom, so that's good. Layer mask, Command I, and now we're painting white. Let's get the paintbrush. Really just concerned about myself. That's really it. And then we have Ray there as well. Here, let me finish this. Go back and save, and then I'll just reopen it and remove Ray real quick. It just works better for me. And I'll also crop it. So make sure that's locked out, keeping the aspect ratio. Done. Now, edit. We did Photoshop, let's do touch retouch tool instead. Just to get a variety of different tools. I mean, there's a lot of different ways to get similar results. All right, let's zoom in and object removal. Now let's change the size here. Let's see if we can, I mean, this could have been one we could have attempted in Lightroom. Just this kind of thing, Lightroom does not do the best. All right, let's remove the shoes and the leg. That's the only other real dead giveaway that was a person there. All right, that looks pretty good to me. Let's go to File, Save As. Which one is this? TIFF Edit. Are we in? All right, this is the right one. So it does create a TIFF file. All right, so I'm gonna replace this one, and I think it should save in Photoshop, or sorry, in Lightroom. Maybe, maybe not. That's all right. Let's go ahead and just import it. So we imported from, it was in the DNG file. Let's, it's this one right here. So let's deselect all and just select this one. Import. All right, hit B. So obviously having to do that extra step, it was a little bit slower than if I was editing in Photoshop, because I just think I didn't do it the right way. All right, so let's go back to develop. So we're good with this one. That person, like, it's not perfect, but it's not distracting to me. So this one, here we're gonna do auto settings to start. Bring up the exposure. I'm focused on this side of the image. Let's do this picker. Try to dial in that white balance. Let's try it here. See what gives us a good result. That looks pretty accurate for what it was. Let's try to bring it down a little. I think that looks pretty good. And then this one, I think we were more focused or concerned about this. So let me copy this so that we have the same white balance. You don't want to necessarily blend two that have different white balance. So now on this one, I'm more concerned about this side of the image, not so much this. That looks good over there. And that's one way that you can manage a shot. I didn't want to use my flash because we had so much going on. So, all right, so now let's open these two as layers in Photoshop. So which one? We'll put the kitchen on the bottom, the good kitchen on the bottom, and then we'll put that room on top. There we go. So we'll click this button right here, and then Command I, invert the mask. And now we'll go to, we're painting on it white. So let's hit Command Option, let's make it bigger. Now we're gonna be painting pretty big on this one. Whoops. Sorry, I'm using the clone tool. All right, let's go here. Let's see. Now we're just painting, trying to make it brighter on this side of the image. And it looks like it's coming together. It looks good. I like it. I think it looks good. Let's go ahead and exit out, save, and move on to the next one. That was pretty easy. But one way, definitely something that you'll run into in houses. So let's do B. Something you can also do is create a, if you go over here, you can create a virtual copy, and then you can kind of boost exposure here and leave this one here. So essentially, you can do the same thing with one image as well. Or you can just do a exposure paint over on this side, but I mean, there's plenty of ways to get the result that you're looking at. All right, this is a single exposure, so I'm just gonna do Profile Straight Auto, up, and biggest issue, white balance. Let's hit that baseboard. And I'm concerned about that fixture. I want that fixture to look nice. It's a little bit too cold in here. Let's bring it up a little bit. Maybe somewhere around 29 something. All right, that looks all right. Let's get the exposure brush out here. Let's do half. Let's make this bigger. It's just darker over on this side of the image. See if this thing can work here. A little bit darker. It may be a little bit warmer. Let's bring down the warmth a bit. That looks pretty good. I guess I did have a flash on this one. Let's see if Lightroom can do a decent job here. All right, that's okay. Let me try this right here. All right. A little bit muddy in the window. Not the most money shot. I'm not gonna worry about it too much. My eye doesn't get drawn to it immediately. Obviously not the best either. This is a single, is this single? No, this is a double shot, but let's go ahead and we might be able to achieve what we're looking for without, ooh, there we go. You can see how that white balance just really brought this one to life. Now let's bring it, make it warm again, and bring down the highlights. It does look a little bit on the yellow side. Let's hit this saturation tool and come on this wall and just drag it down a little bit. That looks pretty good. Yeah, it looks pretty good in my opinion. I probably could have done an exposure lower than what I did, because these are kind of blown out right here, these tiny lights. Now in this shot, they're not. Let's see if this one, this is with the flash. So, all right. So we can see these better in this one with the flash. Let me try to set white balance. A little bit cool. But that's why sometimes I like to kind of adjust two and just kind of see what we got. This one looks pretty good. Let's bring down exposure a little bit. And exposure down. All right, let's try to, whoa, that. All right, let's take a look at these. All right, so this one seems more ambient. This one looks more professional. The only thing I don't really like about this one is, you know, that flash coming in on that window, which let's try to reduce that. So I like this one better. I'm gonna copy this one and paste it over here so that I have the same white balance. One thing that I didn't copy was the upright transforms. So let's copy that, paste it so that I'm not having to align them. But did it move a little bit? No, it didn't. All right, so let's go ahead and select these both. Open as layers in Photoshop. All right, now we're just working on this side right here. So this is our main shot. This is not the main shot, so let's do layer mask, Command I. Whoops. No, let's redo. Let's step back. So this is the one that this is our main one. We'll put that one on the bottom. All right, this is the one that we're just taking. Hold on a second. No, this is the main one. This one we're taking the window. Right? I believe so. Sorry, I'm kind of confused myself there. Yep. All right, now we're just gonna be painting over here, getting rid of that light on the window. All right, I think that's good. All right, let's keep going. Let's save here. All right, back to Lightroom, and we keep chugging along. I'll wait for that one to save. All right, so let's get rid of that. That's the good one, and we'll get rid of this. All right, so here we go. This one is a single, that's all I did. Let's do profile straight auto. Clearly white balance is the biggest problem here. Hit the baseboard. That looks pretty accurate as is. That actually looks quite good. It just looks a little bit bright right here. So let's make this smaller. Just kind of run that down. It's probably a little bit too much. Let's bring that back up. Maybe 0.45. Okay, that's acceptable. All right, let's do this one. Profile straight auto. Now I'm gonna adjust the exposure. White balance definitely doesn't look like the other ones. Now it does. That looks pretty good. Should we bring down the highlights even more? I don't know. Let's bring up the exposure. I think that looks pretty good. Let's copy and see what we get from here. Same room, same lighting scenario. Anything we don't like in here? I mean, I guess some of these bulbs may have been slightly different, so I'm gonna select this selector tool, hit that. I don't know. It feels like, I felt like it took a little bit of color out of here, so I'm just gonna leave it as is. I think it looks cool. All right, so we're outside, and let's do profile straight auto. So it just kind of fixed the perspective of the home. Let's bring up the exposure. You can see how you don't really need a huge flash to get great results. And I was really just focused on getting a decent exposure on the inside when I was at the property. Let's bring down exposure a little bit on the in front of the house right here, so it doesn't look like it's flashed. I'm gonna hit done, and then maybe I hit the house with a little bit of exposure boost, maybe just in the spots that, you know, I feel like it could use a little bit. I mean, we could warm it up as well if we wanted to. That's something you can do. That looks all right like that. And then honestly, I like the picture how it is right now. Now let's try to get rid of this, and let's see. This is an easy one. Actually, it did a pretty good job. Definitely not perfect, but my eye doesn't get drawn to that, so I think that's acceptable, at least by my standards. So let's go ahead and hit copy. Let's not do that. Upright mode, copy. Let's go to the next. Let's paste here. All right, and I think, man, I don't know. I don't know if the transform did, it just shifted so much. Let's level, auto. There's two shots that are very similar. These two are both. Let me see what it does here. Like, oh man, this one's not even really in focus. I mean, this one's in focus. All right, let's hit this off. I think I can do a better job manually. And since this one's out of focus, I'm just gonna do away with that one. I have some additional angles on that one, so let's just do a little, just adjust it. Let's see, rotate. I'm looking at the door. I just want to rotate that straight. I mean, this side of the home kind of looks a little odd because it's like pulling out. Let me see what this does. I don't know. That actually doesn't look too bad to me. I think it's a better result than what auto got us. So let me just crop in. Oh, I see why auto cropped in, because it probably did the same, basically same adjustment that I just did manually. To get rid of the white. Let's hit done. I think that does look better than the auto, so I'm not, let me try to, I feel like it's a little bit off. I was just looking at the lines, you know? Not necessarily just the door, but just the house overall, so I just kind of look at it. It looks pretty good. All right, let's do a little bit of an exposure brush, add a little bit of warmth here onto the house. This can really just help it pop a little bit more. That looks pretty good. Let's hit done, and we'll reduce the pavement in front. That's probably good enough right here. All right. All right, now we're out back. The lighting was different. This is like fluorescent out here. We got a little bit of tungsten out here, but this light just really took over. All right, let's see what it does on its own. Really crooked. Let's hit off. I think it's pretty straight how it is. Let's reduce the highlights and see if it looks any better under here. We could paint under here just to warm it up a little bit. I'm looking out here. We can boost shadows to bring a little bit more blue out of the sky. And maybe that's what I do right here, you know? Maybe we try what we did on outside, you know? We bring it down a little bit and warm it up. Just so it's not so dramatic. And I think like right here underneath, same thing. I think it looks a little magenta. Let's bring it down the tint. That looks pretty good. I think that looks better in my opinion than what it was. All right, let's copy. Make sure local adjustments are turned off. I like that. So this, This looks pretty good. Let's bring up shadows. Let's bring up exposure. And I like this picture a lot. Let me dehaze a little bit. That looks good to me. Now let's see if this does anything good. Minor adjustment, I'll leave it. All right, copy that and we'll paste it over here. Just to get the same. Man, that's great. And sometimes you want this little, you know, that's a 3-second exposure that it was right here, so you get some nice little water fall off. It looks good. All right, let's paste this. It's probably not gonna look right, but honestly, it does look pretty good. I was thinking that the lighting was quite a bit different, but not too bad. All right. Yeah, that looks pretty good to me. Now let's go to the next, paste. I kind of just got this shot because I wanted to show the bench as well. There's kind of a shadow right here that's kind of distracting. Let's try just to use this and see if Lightroom can do a decent job picking another spot. Nope, bad job there. Let's try again. I'm gonna stop right there. It should just pick up on another side. That looks a little bit better. We could try it again. Nope, worse. All right, I think that's okay. Yeah, it's kind of bothering me. Let's go ahead and bring it in Photoshop real quick and just do a little, because that's a real easy one. Little clone stamp real quick. Control Option, let's change the size here to bring it down. Hold Option, we'll select this spot right here. It looks like it fixed it a little bit. All right, there we go. Maybe it was just a little bit laggy. Exit, save. All right, let's go back to Lightroom. There's the new one. Get rid of the old one. And now I'm gonna go back to library, just take a look. And we got 25 Twilight photos, which is good because we already had 50 during the day. And these are the best areas of this home that it had to offer. So just like any other shoot, we'll do the front shots first. Usually I like a third, but that third angle, there really was nothing there. And then, so there, we're coming in. Let's start with the door. Yeah, front door. Front of the house, front door. And then we'll do, yeah, this shot right here shows the front door as well. And then we'll kind of transition into this area. We'll do this as well. That's, you know, what it looks like as you're walking in. Here we go, right there. We'll put these two next to it. And yeah, we're still in that room right here. Yeah, this should go down over here. I don't know why there's two. Okay, I didn't take the one that had Ray in it. That was, all right. So we have kitchen. I just like to have a nice flow through the house, all right? So main area, coming in, I can see the area over here, and then I transition over there. There we go. And maybe we transition to the kitchen over here. So we see this setting. Oh, now we see the setting over here. We're in the kitchen front. Cabinets, sitting area. That random spot, we're back upstairs. I think that makes sense. Back patio. And I'll probably move this one over. So we got this, the wider shot, and then that backyard. So last thing, so after the order, I'm just looking for consistency throughout it. I feel like these two shots right here are a little bit too yellow. Everything else kind of matches. Just a slight. It's like let me see what it is. So maybe this should be like 2850. And we'll do the next one. It's probably the same. Actually, was this one? Let's go back. Yeah. We'll just reduce it a little bit because I think it was a TIFF, or from when we were editing it in Photoshop, yeah. All right, that looks better. So looking for a uniformity throughout. Looks pretty good. All right, these look great. All right, so we got 24 photos to deliver to the customer. Maybe this one could be a little bit brighter. It's a little bit darker than that one. So let's just bring up exposure oh so slightly. And now let's go back and look. All right, yeah, that looks pretty good. All right, Command A. We're gonna export these. So let's select the folder. So this is Paradise Valley, but we're gonna do desktop. We're gonna select folder 3, and then we're gonna do new folder. We'll just call it finished. All right, we'll choose that, and then all right, we'll start with full res photos of these. So we're not gonna resize them. Leave it at quality 80%. Export, and that should put it in a subfolder. I think I have it selected a subfolder. Let me see. Yep, see, it's gonna be put in the full res subfolder. Now I'm gonna uncheck it. Now in the root folder of just finished, it's gonna be Paradise Valley. Now this one's gonna be the MLS version ones, which is what our customers want mostly. That's why we just put the full res in the subfolder. And let me hit export. All right, so that's gonna do it for this property. So 24 full res, 24 MLS ready photos. Pretty happy with how the photos turned out. We were able to produce great results for what the home was. So I'm pretty sure that the customer, actually I know that the customer is satisfied because the stager is the one that hired us to shoot this home, and we got a new customer in the agent because they were thrilled with it. Now, this is my edit of these photos. I had my editing team edit that was already sent right after the shoot because we're all about speed. But anyways, quality does translate into new customers if you do it right. So anyways, that's gonna do it for this editing session of this home. If you guys have any additional questions, feel free to reach out. We'll see you guys on the next one.